Melissa is still a tropical storm, continuing to feel the effects of a bit of a wind shear, but there is some intensification starting to take place, and we're seeing that with the hurricane hunters. They're flying through it at this time, and I'll get to that in just a second, but I do want to talk about the forecast here, because you see it maintains this tropical storm intensity over the next 24 hours, but as we go to Saturday into Sunday, it starts to rapidly intensify, going from winds of just around 60 to 70 miles per hour up to 100 and maybe even 130 just off of Jamaica here as a Cat 4, and some guidance even puts it as a Category 5 storm system. And I say that, just sharing the latest information and model guidance, not the hype, but make sure everybody is prepared out here. That's our whole goal here at First Coast News with these updates. And I do want to talk about, not only the forecast here, of course, this is definitely important, but also the current intensity, because hurricane hunters are flying through it. And something I do want to note, as of 8 a.m., winds were 45. Hurricane hunters have just found the winds even higher at 55 miles per hour. So we're starting to see some intensification out of this, and I would believe that the next update from the NHC, which is at 11 a.m. here on Friday, and at the very least a 2 p.m. update, is going to have this starting to gain some strength. Now, one thing we haven't seen change too much is that movement. It is stationary or just barely moving at 1 to 2 miles per hour. And that's going to be the case as we go ahead through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe even into Tuesday. You can see this just slowly working its way towards the west. That's a problem, because it's not only just the short time heavy rain and winds, but the lingering effects of this, especially across parts of Jamaica. Over a foot of precip is possible before this does start to churn off towards the north. So, like I said, flooding and mudslides are really going to be one of the big issues with this for our friends out there. And then eventually into Cuba, also taking some impacts from it, as it will still be a major hurricane at that point. I mean, it's moving into an area favorable for intensification. Shear is going to start to lax a bit as we go through the weekend, and the sea surface temperatures are just boiling. They're record highs out there, into the high 80s, near 90 degrees. So, serious stuff. And also, I do want to stress, for our friends across the state of Florida, a lot of people are asking, is this going to hit Florida? No, nothing really indicates that. But if you do look closely at this, so we got hurricane warnings in place for Jamaica and Haiti. We see this little inlet right there. That's Guantanamo Bay. For Jacksonville, you have to fly through Jacksonville to get to Guantanamo Bay for the Navy base out there. A lot of close ties to this area. And they could be looking at this storm system in the right front quadrant kind of impacting them there. So I'm sure they're already going through their core conditions of readiness. It starts at 5, goes up to 1, which basically means the winds are imminent. A little different than hurricane warnings. I've spent plenty of years in the military forecasting those core setups, and I'm sure they're already going through it out there in Gitmo. But you see the ECMWF model kind of showing you, we're talking about this intensifying just off of Jamaica and making that hard churn just off towards the north. So, of course, going to continue to keep you posted here at First Coast News, and at firstcoastnews.com/Hurricane Central. You can get all the graphics I used here if you want to go through and just kind of analyze it yourself. As always, though, continue to check back in for more updates.